Good morning, everyone, and welcome to yet another webinar with Microsoft. And today we also have the pleasure of having HP with us. So this will be a joint Nordic webinar with Microsoft and HP. Really exciting. I bid you welcome. And today we will be digging deep into device security as pioneered by HP, along with the interesting new features of the Windows 11 update. We'll be touching on the security features there, and we might have a little other features to cover as well. It's up to our presenter there. So joining me today is also Jenny Gustafsson from HP, managing us and being the business unit involvee in the HP devices, as well as we have Axel Niklasson from Microsoft, who I believe is the Nordic trainer for Microsoft with everything device related and Windows related. And my name is Alexander Pontikis. I am the strategic vendor manager and a part of the Microsoft Cloud team. Working mostly with Microsoft Azure. I'm also covering Adobe on a Nordic level. So I think I have had the chance to be in contact with some of you attendees here today earlier. The software cloud security team of TD SYNNEX, we are a big team, and with regards of the topic today, security is something that we added in our group name about a year ago, which gives you all an idea about the seriousness and about our posture around security, ranging everything from multi-factor authentication solutions to information governance to identity and protection. We see that the security landscape and the cybersecurity threats landscape is evolving, of course, due to the geopolitical situation that we are in. The birth and the sophistication, the acceleration of AI, of course, also led to the sophistication in attacks. There are players out there who also use AI for the remedies. There are vendors like Darktrace, for instance, and there are a bunch of other which are trying to pioneer within the AI cybersecurity space. We also have in our role, in our team, we also have Nordic BDMs touching cybersecurity, which is a great way for you partners if you want to begin and build a security offering, whether that's it starting from the device or from information or starting consultancy services around how you can work with the end customer around cybersecurity. Our team is your single point of contact, and let me be your first point of contact for that one. So that gives you hopefully a little broader perspective what we at TD SYNNEX can help with. Besides devices and device-related services, we also offer pre-sale and professional services, and we also have a center of excellence working with bigger projects around cloud migration, cybersecurity, information protection, whatever it might entail. And that was a little longer introduction than really planned, but hope that gives you a little scope what we can do. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to our first speaker today, and that would be Axel Niklasson. Welcome here and good morning.
Thank you, Alexander. Good morning to you and good morning to everyone out there and listening. So, as you said, I'm Axel, working with Microsoft in regards to training in Windows, Microsoft 365, Azure Dynamics, so the whole spectrum. And today we're going to look a little bit about Windows 11, the time to upgrade, we called it, because it's high time to do that. We're going to dive into the security parts, but as you mentioned, Alexander, things are happening, so we might talk a little bit about AI as well when we get there. But this is my 3 topics for today. It's security, securing people, devices, and the data. How to streamline deployment to make that more efficient for everyone, and also how to empower the end user. They need to get something out of it as well. Might be security, but mostly the work style, how to work with your devices wherever you are. So just to set the landscape, you mentioned it, Alexander, but we'll see that this hybrid work, it's evolving, it's here to stay. People are using hybrid work, whatever that means for you, but in some regards, we are moving about more. We need to be more critical of security and have a focus on securing the devices, because they are not locked up in our office. They are out and about. We also see people wanting to move to this transition, but might not be able to because of devices not supporting it. And of course, personal devices. We have our phones, we have our personal PCs, but that is also something we want to support and might need to think about in the security landscape. So the challenges here are many, but here's some, and also regards to the hardware devices. We're seeing a lot of attacks. We're seeing a lot of the data we see from the bigger Microsoft cloud and the Microsoft graphs are enormous, and we need to protect that, and even small businesses today need to be aware of this and have that in mind. The third thing here, I think, is the most alarming. It's the password attacks. I think that number is old. I think it's over 1,000 attacks every second on your password. So passwords might not be the best thing to go with, and we're going to talk about that as well. So 3 things today. How do we secure the endpoints? How do we make it not that complicated for the IT, if that's you as a partner or the local IT on that business, and also empowering the workforce to do more. So this is also a good thing to know. In Sweden, in the Nordics, a lot of people are using Microsoft 365, and we are building Windows 11 and of course Windows 11 Pro as a minimum for business users. In regards to Microsoft 365, they are a nice combination, and you will get more out of your Windows 11 PC if you combine it with Microsoft 365, and vice versa. You will get more security from Microsoft 365 if you have Windows 11 PCs, and how you manage and interact with them. And one really important thing is that this zero trust we're going to talk about as well, to deploy that in your environment. But actually 2 things. The first thing regards to why it's time to upgrade is that Windows 10 is going out of support, or end of support, in 2025, October 14th to be exact. Might seem a long way away, but it's not. We know that these changes take time, and hopefully I will encourage you to understand that the change is not that big this time. In regards to the backend and how to do it, but be aware of the latest Windows 10 update is the last feature update that will be released, and of course there'll be security updates up to the 14th of October, but going forward we will only have feature updates in Windows 11. So that's it's a high time to upgrade your existing Windows 10 PCs, or of course buy the new ones with a updated beefed security, and that's something HP gonna show you later today. But also some things are happening. Last Friday we announced that Microsoft Copilot is going live, so to speak, and Windows 11 is going to get its own Copilot in Windows 11 Copilot, released 2 days ago, rolling out to users during this fall. So it's an optional update for the current version of Windows 11, but also going forward, we will have a new version of Windows 11 with Copilot built in, and also not a lot of other features I'm not going to go in today, but I'll leave you with a link for that as well, so you can check it out. But AI is a hot topic. It's here to change the way we work, and Copilot is a really nice feature built into Windows in regards to helping you do settings, searches, productivity, and doing all those kind of repetitive tasks, for example. But let's dive into the security. So firstly, data, devices, the people we see, and this is compared to Windows 10 devices. We see fewer instances of identity theft, and we see fewer attacks on the firmware. And both regards to that Windows 11 as software is more secure, but also that we have worked with the hardware manufacturers to build the hardware from the ground up to support security, to support the hybrid way of work, compartmentalize everything, have it encrypted, have it protect the device and the operating system from first boot up. Even when the operating system is not launched, it will still protect you from firmware attacks and things. And I think we're going to dive deeper in that with HP and their devices. But just know that we're working very close with our OEM vendors and PC hardware manufacturers to secure it all the way from hardware up to the cloud. And we are building this. I think you're all working and know what Zero Trust is, but just to give you a perspective and what's Microsoft's view on this. Zero Trust is a way or principle of working where we think of security in a new way in this changing landscape. So here are 3 things you should implement in your everyday work life and talking with your customers. And it's verify explicitly every time. It's not that the user need to be in their password or identify themselves every time, but every time something changes for regards to like where we're located, what network we're on, if IP numbers are changing, or if we see things that are out of scope with regards to user, we need to verify that the user is still the same user, is not being attacked or harmed in any way. We also need to work with the least privileged access, so just-in-time access to administrative rights or global admins. Have that as a baseline. Just give them access if and when they need, and then revoke it. And also assume breach. We are under attack. I'm not going to scare anyone, but this is the way of life today. We need to assume that we are under attack, so we need to reduce the attack vectors. We need to be on top of what is happening, and leveraging Windows 11 and Microsoft 365 Cloud, for example, we can have those keystones or building blocks in place that we can see what's happening, what are we needing to do to minimize attack vectors. So Zero Trust is a really nice way of working around and being really secure. And we also see regards and compared to Windows 10 reports of almost half or 58% if you want drop in security incidents with Windows 11 Pro, and that's because we have the hardware in place. We have it from first start up to how we interact with it, passwords. I like Windows Hello for Business, for example, where you don't necessarily need a password. We have our facial recognition, we have biometrics, we have PIN codes to strengthen the login procedure. And of course, with Windows 11 Pro, we also have BitLocker. Really key feature. You need to be able to encrypt your data, and BitLocker has that built in with the Windows 11 Pro. So even if your device, or even if when your device gets stolen, lost, or decommissioned, the hard drive is encrypted. That's really important as well.
So just a comment on that one.
Go ahead, Sander.
Before we go on. Thank you. I think this is very important, and of course the Zero Trust framework is something that encompasses not only, of course, Windows, but in this case a large array of the Microsoft portfolio. And this has and this ranges from Azure security to also the Microsoft 365 based security. I would like to highlight just a few. Microsoft 365 Business Premium is a great way to get started as a way to offer together with the device a great security solution, which basically covers everything you need for the user, everything from identity management to MFA access and things like that. And also we've seen that it's customers are really starting to see this as important, whereas it was mostly back in the day you had to the security landscape was different, and it
Mm-hmm.
didn't come as a sense of urgency from the end customer. As of now, it's starting to become a sense of urgency.
We need to have everyone is under attack and needs to think about security, and Windows, as you said, Windows 11, Windows 11 Pro, combined with, for example, Business Premium for the smaller customers it's awesome, because you get everything built in, and of course we need to configure it and set it up and do that. But for example, that in this next part, just 2 slides, but the management, if we're going to do management in a smart way and in a easy and effective way, we need to have cloud management. For example, Microsoft 365 is built to handle Windows, of course Windows 10, but mostly Windows 11 devices regards to access control, as you said, multi-factor authentication, conditional access. Sorry, lost the word there. In regards to your users are in the Microsoft Entra environment, and also the Windows Autopilot, which I really love, where we can distribute devices directly. We order them. In this case, HP helps us with the information on the device. We can send it directly to the end user and have the configuration in the cloud. When the end user starts it up, it configures itself. You get all that security, and you don't need to be hands-on. It's faster to deploy. It's easier to manage and going forward. And that, if you want to use those features, you need the cloud-based device or management in example Windows or Microsoft Intune.
Exactly, and just a last note, also recent studies that we've seen is I think there's 60% of the SMB customers are willing to change IT provider if there's no clear security offering, and that's also very important to stress. So we have it in our numbers. We also seen it among our partners actually, that a deal has gone and an engagement have moved from one partner to the other due to lack of the ability to do security scans and things like that. So yeah,
that's so just to be relevant for your end customers. As you said, they will change if you're not supporting them in the right way.
Exactly.
And then some people might say, well, going from Windows to Windows, it's hard. It's complicated. We need to test. We need to do like long test periods and evaluate everything. With Windows 11, I would say you don't need to do that in the same way, because as we can see here on this slide, 99.7, I won't say all applications, but almost all applications are compatible with Windows 11. So going from 10 to 11 in regards to applications, the end user will have a new shell, a new experience there, but the applications will run, they will work. If they're not working, Microsoft can help you get your old legacy applications or old apps up and running on Windows 11 as well. So you just want to say that it's not that big of a step, like from back in the day, going from like Windows XP to Vista and with huge shifts and changes, and you need to rewrite programs and drivers. Today everything is more compatible and almost no effort in changing, and the upgrade is still free. You can upgrade your Windows 11 devices you have, and of course when buying new devices, of course you will buy Windows 11 devices, as HP is going to talk about later. I don't think they supply 10 devices more. I'm not going to say too much, but we're shifting there as well. So the last part I want to touch on is the end users and what's in it for them, because we need to have the end users with us, because otherwise they won't use it in the way we want. So This presentation is done before the Copilot reveal, so have that in the back of your head as well. That Copilot is a big part of Windows 11 now. You can have those AI assistants and generative AI built into the operating system. But regards of that, we're also building Microsoft and Windows 11 Pro to be very compatible with Microsoft 365 in regards to productivity, how we interact with meetings, not just Microsoft 365, of course, but we have tools to mute your computer if you're on a call without finding that special mute button in that call. You can mute it from the taskbar. Easier to collaborate and share. I might have time to show you some of those features as well if I may. We can have more flexibility in how we're set up, how we customize our operating system as well. Devices, touch, pen, all those kind of things that the manufacturers provide are also built in, so we can take advantage of all the devices. And arcing back to what I said about Windows Autopilot and delivering PCs that way, we're not locked into a single SKU of PCs to all our end users, because we're not handing the end user experience or the image of that device. We can actually set up how we want Windows to behave on all devices we are implementing in the cloud. So as for example, someone needs touch, someone needs pen, someone needs a high-end PC. Well, give them that, configure your environment in the cloud, and they all will be set up with that right security and features as well. So that's also really cool for the end user. Looking at some of the features, as I said, no AI here, but we'll need to upgrade as soon as they go live. But layouts, so we can snap our windows. I want to show you that as well, so we can have more flexibility, because we're working with bigger screens, big resolutions all the time. We need to manage our windows in a productive way. We have smart conferencing built in with the hardware that the manufacturers support in regard to cameras and AI features in removing backgrounds, tracking eyes, being able to unmute and mute, and sharing things in a really easy way. Improving focus, setting up our operating system is the way we want to handle it. The looks and feels. This example says we have tabs in File Explorer, for example. If you're working with a lot of open file windows, you can have them tabbed as you have in the browser, for example. Lastly, actually security as a feature for the end user, and that's not that common, but some things are really good here. So instead of having to manually lock your computer when you leave your desk, or you're on a cafe or grabbing your coffee, it will automatically lock if you have presence sensing compatibility hardware there. So it's actually just scan your face when you leave. It will lock, dim, go into power saving mode, for example, and then when you arrive at your device again, it will automatically unlock it even before you've sat down and worked with the PC. So being more effective and more productive. I think I have some short minutes. I want to just jump out of my presentation, just show you some features of Windows 11 I talked about. You might know the snap feature. It's been in Windows 10. You can drag a window from one side, and then you can choose, okay, well, what do I want to have on my left and right side. This is something we have upgraded. So if you just hover over your maximize window here, you can actually have more features. Okay, I want my web browser in the middle. I want my Excel on the right, and not the meeting, but grab that. Or also PowerPoint. And also we can drag the window up here and have way to manage our windows depending on your upgrade, on your screen size, and all those kind of things. We can do those features as well, easily built in. Sharing devices, as we are in the Teams meeting, I can just hover over over, for example, a presentation, my Excel or something, and have this, share this directly in the meeting. I don't have to find the meeting. Where's the share button? Oh, what window do I need to share? Well, it's built in. Just click when you're in a Teams meeting. So that's some cool features there. Of course, we can just, for those interested, see, we can grab our file explorer as well and talk about that. We have dark mode, for example. You need to have dark mode. We have tabs here if you're working with a lot of see, will load for me here. A lot of files same time. We can go into tab mode and have different areas up and running at the same time. So that's just some of the features we can share right now. Of course, in the next session we might show some co-pilot things as well. But to summarize, here's some next steps or some things you can do, I think. Well, of course, we need to upgrade. We need to get rid of the Windows 10 devices, and I've heard numbers of upwards to 3 to 5 million devices in the Nordic regions that's not, unfortunately, not able to upgrade because of hardware. So that's also a way to get them to buy new devices with Windows 11 if they don't have that. And it's no problem to mix devices like Windows 10 and 11, of course, but upgrade everything you can to Windows 11 and start working with that operating system. That will give you the modern devices, new hardware features. That's HP going to talk about a little bit here. Adopt cloud management because it will be easier for everyone, for you as a partner and for your end customers in regards to deploy and manage and have analytics and security features. We'll talk about that zero trust deployment. We need to have cloud management. And the last thing, I think autopilot. If you haven't looked into autopilot, do that, because it's really neat to save that time on not having to be hands-on with all devices, not having to manage images for different installations. Just do the settings in Intune and have the device be populated and upgraded at the way you have set it up. With that said, if you want to learn more, you can check out expertzone.microsoft.com. Expertzone is focused on selling, so sales educations on Windows 11 Pro, Azure, Microsoft 365, but also Xbox and Office and all those cool things as well if you want to. So go to expertzone.microsoft.com. You log in with your personal account, so not your work or school account, just to be clear there. Do it in an in-private session in your browser. It's easier. And then you can also get some nice certificates or diplomas when you finish your courses, and you can share them with your co-workers or in LinkedIn or stuff like that. So that's my 20 minutes. See if you can share this with you as well. Some resources we have, hopefully.
That's great, Axel. I just realized that I use my work account to log into expertzone, so I must definitely stop doing that.
Yeah, it might. I think but there might be that you have tied your work account to a Microsoft personal account as well. So the best thing is to do that in the private personal account, but that's up to you.
Exactly. Before I thank you so much again, Axel, and hope you learned. I definitely learned a lot. Before I hand it over to Jenny, I am going to just say a little note around productivity, which we touched upon. Axel, great thing. What Microsoft will be doing throughout this fiscal year that we're in, FY24, is that they are on the verge, and together with us, to look for productivity workshop opportunities, which could be funded by Microsoft by, I think it's up to $1,500 per workshop, where the theme is based around productivity or security. It could be an upgrading to business premium scenario. It could be how you work with Teams rooms, or increase your productivity within Teams in general. There are certain templates and topics that it must touch, but there's really no limitation, and it definitely touches the productivity, let's say, features from Windows, but also extends beyond to Microsoft 365. So if that sounds interesting, please reach out to me, and we can have a look at that. Okay. And whenever you are ready, Jenny, I would say the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Axel. Very interesting. And I think, I mean, the key takeaway is, of course, to upgrade because of security and everything. But I mean, the new AI features and the new features is only available in Windows 11. I think that's a very key question. So let's talk about PCs a little bit. HP PC portfolio, the most secure PC portfolio in the world. Let's dig in a little bit into what we mean when we say that. It's a pretty big way of approaching as an American company to say that we are the most secure PC portfolio. But I will explain a little bit more into details why we can claim that. I will talk a little bit about HP Wolf Security. That's the name of our security suite that we include in all our PCs on the commercial side and also some of our consumer side, but this is focused on the commercial side. I will talk a little bit about collaboration, the good features you get when you go with our Windows 11 platform, or the new products we are having, in meaning that not just upgrading, but if you buy a new product as well, you will get more collaboration features and also other features. So that's what I'm going to walk through now. So let's start with the security. Why should you use HP for security? We have two points of differentiation, and the first one is we have a full stack of security. This is both on the PC side and the print side, because print is also an important part on the security side because it's also a device. And we're talking about layers, we're talking about zero trust, of course, and everything. From a hardware perspective, we need to look at what can we do as a hardware vendor? Where can we make changes? Where can we make a difference for you and your customers? And we can do it by using the hardware as a way of protecting the software and the applications and the firmware and the BIOS, of course. The second thing is to have hardware enforced isolation. And for that, we also have solutions. And I will go through that as well, more into details. So what is HP Wolf Security? Yeah, it's a lot of features. And as you probably have heard before, for being protected in the best way, you need to think about layers over layers over layers over layers, because we're not talking about protecting you from attacks. You will get attacked, but the question is more on how protected or how prepared are you for the attacks? How quickly can you reinstall a PC, or how effectively can you close down or isolate the attack for not spreading within the organization? And we have a lot of different features protecting layer over layer, all the way from the firmware in the BIOS. And I will go through that in total as well. We have a very, very strong legacy. We were actually part of developing the TPM chip over 20 years ago as an important part of that. We have a lot of history together before we split Hewlett-Packard into HP Inc. and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Group. So I will go through the chip that we have in all our PCs and our printers that you also can see in the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise servers, because the chip is developed from our legacy when we were one company. We have invested in Bromium. I will talk a little bit more in that, which is now part of HP, and we're doing a lot of testing on this So we have a very strong legacy on this. And of course, I mean, if you're looking at all the vendors, all vendors are using, if you're looking at our competitors, a lot of security is also built into the chipset and to the silicon within the processors. So on top of what AMD is bringing or Intel is bringing, and every security feature you can find in the operating system, we are adding a lot of features on top of that. That is HP unique. And those features I'm going to go through together with you are just to explain how we are adding extra security together with everything that the processor vendors and Microsoft is adding to the devices. And this is the big difference between us and the competition. And that's why we think we have the most secure lineup of products, and also a very easy way for our joint customers to use the devices and to be protected in a good way. And everything starts with this chip. This is our endpoint security chip. We developed this and in the old time when we were together with Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and we have had this chip included in most of our commercial products for over 10 years. This is the big part of our security feature. Right now, we have this included in all our, I think it's since 3 years ago, we have it included in all our lineup of commercial products. So it doesn't matter where, what product you have. If you have PCs of the Elite Book that are 10 years old, or I think we didn't call them Elite Book, to be honest, at that time. But if you have a 10-year-old device, you have this chip included in it. So if the customer have installed base, the chip is already there. And probably a lot of the features, maybe not the latest versions, but a lot of it is already installed. So what does this chip mean? On this chip, this is totally separated from the motherboard. It's separated from the operating system, and we put a lot of information on it to make sure that no one is tampering with what's happening within the computer. The first part of it is our HP Sure Start. This was the first feature we added into the computer after we added the chip. So this HP Sure Start is about 10 years old as well. And HP Sure Start is a self-healing BIOS protection. What we do is that we save on the chip the last approved version of the BIOS. And before we even give any electricity to the processor, we double check if the BIOS on the chip and on the PC is the same. If it's not, we reinstall it on the PC from the golden copy on the chip. And this is not only something we do in the beginning at the startup, we do it continuously. So we do it all the time. And it doesn't really affect the productivity or the performance of the PC. The second part of the chip we are doing is something called Sure Recover. Meaning that directly from the factory, we are adding the FTP server to the factory, where if your PC is totally blown out, so you don't have an operating system or anything on it because you have had an attack, you cannot use Autopilot if you don't have the operating system in the PC. But what you can do is that our BIOS will go out and download the factory image or your own image that you have, the customer have, or you have for the customer. So when you update an image, you can just point the chip to go to the address and download the latest version of the image. And then the user can start working again. We also have a separate chip where you actually can place the image. And if you have your image locally on a separate chip, it will only take 5 minutes. You can go and take your cup of coffee, and then you're up and running again. And this is because we understand and we know that a lot of customers, the time you can work and be productive is key. If you're down for a couple of days, that can be like the death of your company if you're a very small SMB company, for example. Sure run, I will go a little bit more into details on later, showing a little animation on it. But we also have something called HP Sure Admin. And you heard about security, and the login is the problem. And we have a lot of attacks of logins and all the good things with biometric logins. HP Sure Admin is an easy way of also adding a separate logging over your BIOS. Larger corporations would like to have a BIOS login, so you have your face recognition, for example, but you also have a BIOS login on your device. But it's hard because you need to keep track of it. So with HP Sure Admin, what we are doing is that it's more or less like for all the attendees from Sweden, it's like a bank ID, or like you just use your phone, connect it with your phone, scan a QR code, and you have like a extra feature to log in. You put a PIN code on your phone, and it's logging you in. So you have extra protection on the BIOS as well. Also secured by the chip. The same thing is with our cameras and the shutters on our cameras. So no one can tamper with it. It's secured by the chip, so it's not turned on if it's not pressing the button. We have other features like secure erase, features that we are doing in the factory that we can activate already in the factory. We all actually have sensors in the device, so if you unscrew the back to try to add things physically into the PC with the malware, for example, the PC will shut down and will send the information to the IT department if you set the device up in that sense. So everything is connected to the hardware. And a little bit more explanation on the Sure Start. So like I explained, it's checking the BIOS all the time. The cool thing is also that it's not only securing the hardware, as you can see here, it's also preventing if you attach peripherals. So it's also protecting peripherals, because we see that also peripherals can give you problems with your firmware. But it's not only the firmware from HP, it's also firmware from AMD, Intel, or other components within the PC, like graphic cards and things like that. And we can also add a lot of different firmware, so it's always updated according to the settings the customer has. So if the customer has certain BIOS settings, that is saved, and when you do a restore, it's going to be the latest version that the customer was setting up. So from a user-friendly perspective, nothing will be changed. They will just see that the PC is restarting and everything is back to normal. When we're looking at HP Sure Run, and this is actually a really good feature, this is monitoring that important softwares are not turned off. As, for example, some of our software that we are adding, SureClick, for example, SureSense, which is a more or less antivirus software, but also antivirus features within the Windows platform. So what we can do is like a connection between the chip and an alert saying that some things are not turned off, because we can also see that a lot of the attacks are attacking in waves, turning off some features, and then it's open to go in and do the attack. And what it's doing, it's like making sure, double checking with the endpoint security controller, making sure that nothing is happening on the device, actually automatically turning on the software that they have in the list. This is what the IT department can do. Say these different kinds of features should not be able to be turned off. If it's turned off, HP Sure Run will turn it on by default. And it goes like this. If HP Sure Run is affected, because HP Sure Run is a software that can be hacked, the chip will look for HP Sure Run and reinstall it again. So, and that also goes really, really quick. So we have double protection here. That's why it's connected to the chip. So the chip is looking for the software. The software is checking so you don't turn off some of the features within the PC. And if the software is turned off or manipulated, the chip will turn it off. The last part of, we have, like I said, we have a lot of security features, and we have a huge white paper, which is official, and you can share it with the customers on all the features we have. If you have a customer who's really interested in the security suite, reach out to us or reach out to Tech Data, and we can together help you hold a presentation with all the details with the customer, understanding the customer and which feature they would like to have. This is just a few examples of where it makes sense and what these features are doing. So if we're looking at the HP SureClick, which is coming with all the products in an individual version. This is a protection of all operating and now all different documents, PDFs, emails, documents coming in from USB-C sticks or coming in via emails or downloaded from the internet. We are protecting Chrome, we are protecting a lot of features, and what we're doing is we are sandboxing them in a virtual machine. So if you open anything, you can work in it, you can edit it, you can send it to someone else, but it's in a virtual machine. And if you get an attack, the attack is isolated in a virtual machine. So if you get a ransomware, for example, it's not on the PC. If you turn off the document or the web browser or just a different folder in the document or whatever, it will be turned on and totally killed. We have a more enterprise version of this where we can get more information, meaning that we can see more trends. Who is getting attacked? What kind of documents is coming? How is it coming in? Is it coming over the internal network? Is it coming from external? And we can get more information on how the attack was happening. This is a super, super cool product. This is what we bought from Bromium when we acquired Bromium. This is something that a lot of our customers are looking for, because the problem we have, and I think Axel also touched upon it, is that the users, they're there to do their work. And a lot of the times, and a lot of the users, or I would say the main part of the users, are not security experts. They are just doing their job, opening emails, opening documents, coming from trusted, what it seems to be trusted people sending documents, but still it can be a threat. So with this software, we are helping your customers or our joint customers to be able to be more efficient and more productive. Going back to features within the products that will be better if you do a new, when you're buying a new product. I will summarize and explain a little bit more on from which generation of our products you can do an upgrade. But if you're looking at our last 2 generations of products, we have 5 megapixel camera on EliteBooks as a standard. And 5 megapixel camera is something that is super important, or not super important, but gives you a lot of more features, or also an important part of your hybrid work. Because most of our meetings is like this, digital, and with a high quality camera that will add a lot of functions. In the latest G10 generation, we are also adding multi-camera functionality. meaning that you can have a feed of me at the same time as a separate camera is giving a feed where I'm demonstrating a product. But it can also be a function where you have your external display and a camera in that, meaning that if I move my face looking at another display, it will automatically move to that camera. So I'm always looking into the camera, and it doesn't matter which display I'm looking at. As long as I have more than one camera, it will swap between the cameras and trying to look with face recognition where I am looking. The other thing that's also very important, and I think this is a performance functionality that is connected to the last two generations. So Intel 11th generation and HP G9. We started on 800 series to include DDR5 memory within the PC. And the DDR5 memory the architecture of the DDR5 memory together with Windows 11 makes Windows 11 have a feature within it where you can take benefit from the new technology, both in the processor and the chipset and the new memory, making making it easier for you as a user, because the memory will give more memory to the application you are using right now. Even if you have a lot of applications started at the same time, the application you are using at the moment will get more memory assigned to it than the other applications. And this is a feature, so when customer moves over to Win 11 and has one of the two G9 or G10, they will by default get this function because it's a combination of the memory and the operating system. And before this meeting, we talked about good features within Windows 11. And one of the features that I love and that I really like with Windows 11 is that, you know, when you go to the office, and I bet that most of you have more different offices now than before the pandemic, you have more flex desk, and our customers as well. And every time you sit at a new desk, you need to do the display settings and move them around. But with Windows 11, you do the setting, and if you have the same setup at all desks, the settings would follow the PC and not the desk. So it will be easier for you because you made the setting once, and then when you're moving around, you get the feeling is following the PC. Small changes, but makes a big difference for the users. So key takeaways. Can your customer upgrade to Windows 11? Yes, of course. And we talked about that. There's a lot of products you can upgrade, but there's also a lot of products where you cannot upgrade. So if we're looking at the HP assortment, it's from, for Intel, it's G5. And I mean, if you have a customer who doesn't have G5, I would recommend you anyway to buy a new product, because before G5, you don't have USB-C power delivery, you don't have alt mode within USB-C, so you cannot power through USB-C, you cannot use a display with all the features feeding up the display to a secondary display or things like that. But for AMD, it's the G6 versions. But like I said, if you're buying a new device, a G10 device, they're already pre-installed with Windows 11. You get the highest security because the security features are added. We have newer versions if you compare to G5s of Sure Start, of Sure Run. The Sure Admin is actually not included on G5, so you need to have a newer version to have that. And the tamper lock is also like only 2 generation and features like that. You get better collaboration for the hybrid work because you have a higher, the camera is not full HD, it's 5 megapixel. You get the benefits of the DDR5 memory, that's for the G9s and the G10s. and all the other features. Newer technology, of course, in the chipsets, better battery time, especially with the newer generation of Intel and AMD, and the products will be lighter, have better ports and everything. So I think if you have a 2-year-old or 3-year-old PC, yes, it's a good value to upgrade. But if you have a later PC than that, I would recommend the customers to buy a new one. That was it for me. And here, if you don't know, we have a list called HP list with all the products. All products we have available now is pre-installed with Windows 11. We have had a long time with pre-installed Windows 11 license that was downgraded to Windows 10, but I think we sold out most of it. We might have a few units, and when I'm saying a few units, it's like under 20 units left of some SKUs, but most of the SKUs we have available, part numbers we have available, is pre-installed with Windows 11. Thank you.
And thank you, Jenny. So key takeaways, also weaving in what Axel said earlier, a lot of devices out there not eligible to upgrade to Windows 11. So this is a fantastic time to look over your PC fleet. And also with the differentiating added security features in the HP devices, which definitely was news for me. So I'm going to go over to IT and see if they have an HP device for me. No,
that's good.
at least next time I upgrade. So let me see if there are any questions in the chat. I checked a couple of minutes ago, there weren't any, but of course, the opportunity to ask us question never ends. I mean, we're here for you. Just contact your person in the endpoint team, or you can send questions directly to me. And we will be sharing the presentations afterwards with the attendees. And without further ado, I would like to thank you again, Axel Niklasson and Jenny Gustafsson from Microsoft and HP respectively. And
thanks.
Wish you great, guys, and I wish you a great remainder of the week.
Same to you.